Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 31 of the Bandwagon Hockey Podcast. It's been sporadic lately. A lot going on schedule-wise. I've been a little bit silly these evenings the past couple of weeks. But we're here and we're now. And what better time to record a podcast than on this June 27th at 4:15 p.m., the night before the draft. Ryan, have you ever played Red Dead Redemption?
I have not, Mitchell.
I'm almost done the game. That's kind of been my number one priority over the past couple weeks since I've been off prior to starting work on July 4th. And I just recently finished the campaign, and my goodness, it is a gut-wrenching campaign. I won't spoil it for anyone who is playing the game potentially that may be listening, but no, it's a wild game, so I'm a little bit shaken today. Ryan, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I was just gonna say, so you've been enjoying your time post school, I see.
Yes, I've been enjoying my time post school and post London trip. Basically just been house hunting and gaming for the last couple weeks. It's been a little bit. I'm ready to go back to work. I feel lazy, but you know what? Whatever. Screw it. Let's talk hockey. Lot going on. A lot of different places we could go here. The award show was last night. The draft is tomorrow. There's been about 15 trades in the last 2 minutes. And every single insider that I follow has tweeted at least 5 times in the last 2 hours. And it is a complete whirlwind. So Ryan, I will let you decide where we start.
You want to start with the deal that kind of kicked this all off yesterday with the Hayes deal? Because I think you were pretty fascinated by that one, eh?
Did that not just get confirmed today though, or was that dropped last night?
It might have been confirmed today, but we all kind of knew what it was.
Because it's been in the works for a bit. It was rumored to be bigger. Torrey Krug was rumored to be a part of it. Apparently Philly wanted Krug, but Krug didn't waive.
Yeah.
So it was kind of this whole cluster of potential players involved. Apparently Sanheim was going to be involved in some way. So it was really weird.
That's probably why I thought it was first, because that big trade was being talked about for like days.
Right. But so I guess we can start with the Hayes news though. So Hayes goes to the St. Louis Blues with 50% retention, which puts him at about a 3.5. I think it's like 3.55 because I think he makes 7.1. To St. Louis in exchange for, I think, a 6th round pick either this year or next year. But like regardless, it's basically a free player at $3.5 million. And I don't really get this one at all. $3.5 million for what I would consider to be a legitimate second line center in the NHL. I also kind of don't get it for St. Louis. Like I get that they're gonna try a quick retool, and they have all these first round picks that I hope they go and use. Although maybe this is sort of foreseeing that they will go and use those picks to trade for players to try to win next year because they do have talent on that team. But it's especially weird from Philly's perspective because this is a legitimately good player, great locker room guy, beloved around the league, and you're getting him for $3.5 million for 3 years. I get the $7 million would have necessitated like significant reduction of asset accumulation if you trade him at that full cap hit, but 50% retained and you only get a 6th. I don't really get that.
Yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me either. Like there's got to be, I don't know if there's something I'm missing, but he, like you said, he's a very serviceable guy, especially for 3.5. I can't imagine that the competition for him wasn't there. Like people are always looking for centers like that who can fill the middle of the lineup. So to see him only go for a 6th next year was a little surprising for sure.
And he had 50 points last year. Like this isn't a scrub, right? Like this isn't. It was a bloated contract, but at 50% retained, it's a bargain, you could say.
How many?
And it comes on the heels. Pardon? 3 years.
How many years does he have left? 3.
Okay. And it comes on the heels of Johansson. Here's another trade that happened. Johansson going from Nashville. This is a very similar trade. Johansson to the Avs in exchange for basically the rights to nobody. I think it was the rights to Galchenyuk, who's a UFA. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be playing for his 9th team or 8th team, 9th stint with a different team or something.
Well, this was his whatever, how many team, but I don't think he's actually going to play for them. Like he's a UFA. They're not going to sign him. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically just Nashville dumping some cap to bring them to I think they have $20 million in cap space. Nashville does, which is so fascinating given some of the rumors that are going around, a la Alex DeBrincat and others. And just sort of the ongoing, I don't even want to call it a fire sale because they still have great players there and they've got prospects coming, but just with what's going on in Nashville, I love it. I love what Nashville's doing, but it's just so interesting to see guys like Ryan Johansson and Kevin Hayes, especially in Kevin Hayes' case where Philly is actively sort of moving down the standings and rebuilding, whereas Nashville's kind of trying to toe the line in a similar way that St. Louis is doing. To see Nashville not get anything back for Johansson at 50% makes sense because they wanted to move off that money. But Philly, from their perspective, like they're trading away a good player for cap space that they don't really need. And so I found it a little odd that they didn't get any picks back for Hayes, especially. But
yeah, I don't know. I kind of understand a little bit more. Like I don't think he should have gone for just a sixth, but I don't think we're talking about a first round pick here either. So I don't know. It maybe it was just that the Blues were the only team that were willing to pick up all 3 years. Like I don't know.
Right. I just my confusion, I guess, is like Nashville's acquisition in the Johansson trade was cap space. Like the reason that they got rid of Johansson was cap space because that's a team with the core they believe in. They've got Yossi, they've got Forsberg, they've got guys coming up, they've got Duchesne, and they got 16 draft picks from Tampa for Jeannot that they're going to use. And like Nashville's a team that cap space matters to them, but like Philly is actively on the downswing. You could even say that they're may look into sort of tanking this coming season. So it was just weird to see them retain when dealing Hayes to a team that wants to win and not sort of getting much in return for retaining on the asset. Like it just, I don't know. It seems weird to me. I don't know if this is being explained properly for how I'm thinking or my confusion, but it just seems odd.
Now that
maybe Hayes' value is just nowhere near where I think it is.
No, that makes sense. But now that you lay it out how you did a little bit, that it makes a little bit more sense. Like, why are they willing to retain that on Hayes?
That's what I'm saying.
3 years. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't looking at it from like the retain side. I was just like looking at it to like, hey, they want to get players off their roster side. So
like, why doesn't St. Louis have to pay extra to get the retention on Hayes?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. You're right.
It just seems a little odd. But I don't know. I mean, it just seems like Philly in a rebuilding spot should have gotten more for retaining so much money on a legitimately good NHL player. But maybe the third year, he's 31, so maybe St. Louis looks at that age 33 and 34 season and is scared off. I don't know. Interesting trades, though, very similar in both circumstances. And maybe we move into more of a change of pace here with Alex Newhook going from just like literally an hour ago from Colorado, who had just brought in Ryan Johansson. They send Alex Newhook to the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for the 31st overall pick, the 37th overall pick, and I don't know if he's an AHL or whatever. Something, was it like Josh Fairbrother or some defenseman that kind of doesn't really matter. It's probably just a matter of exchanging contracts because you can only have 50 contracts in your organization or whatever. Basically, it's a Newhook for a pair of picks in the 30s, a very high second and a very low first. Ryan and I were both quite surprised by this, but some of the Habs fans we know were ecstatic. So, Ryan, where do you stand on this one?
Yeah, I still think that it's a little bit of an overpay for sure. Like, I like Newhook as a player, but at the same time, he doesn't really have much to speak for in terms of like super established success. He's now 22, so he's not like super young of a prospect still either. And Montreal's like loading up on these middle six center guys that I don't understand what they're going to do with all of them.
I know.
So like I like the player, and I maybe don't hate the return or what they sent to Colorado as much as I thought I did when I first saw it, but I still think it's too much for something I don't know if they need. What do you think?
It seems weird.
Yeah.
Like, especially after, so they traded Romanoff for the 13th pick and then traded the 13th pick for Doc last year.
Oh, Yeah, I saw it. I saw a tweet on this. I'll try to find it and send it.
Okay, and so that's what they did for Doc last year, and this just feels like something similar.
Oh, it's the
Where they
exact same.
what
It's like the exact same. Okay,
or like to the Doc thing last year,
yeah, it's
or
like almost exactly the same. So Eric Engels tweeted out the trade
okay,
for Doc is almost the exact same one as the one for Newhook. Not
oh,
only looking at motive, but asset value. Habs gave up Romanov to get 13 and moved it with 66. They give up
mm,
they give up 31 to and 37 this time, along with much less established left-hand prospect. Doc had topped out at 26 points in 70 games, Newhook at 33 and 71.
what did Doc do this past year?
I think he had a pretty
Because
good year.
I don't hate this. I
No, I don't hate it. It just I'm trying to wrap my head around it
Doc had 38 points in 58 games for Montreal this year.
because you're probably hoping that both those guys can develop into a second line center, no?
Right. I
So
just
like I
it
I don't know
seems
why you need
weird.
both. Yeah.
Like I don't know if maybe Montreal thinks that their next contending team just has insane center depth because as of right now, you've got Suzuki, Doc, and Newhook down the middle, as well as
Mhm.
like I think like they've still got Dvorak, they've got Jake Evans. Like I think Doc played a significant amount on the wing last year, but it just seems weird to be moving these assets for guys that don't project to be like cornerstone centers, right? Like they
Yeah,
keep on
if
getting guys that serve the same role. Because I would even argue that if this team is ever going to win a Stanley Cup, Nick Suzuki needs to be their second
yeah.
line center.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. And like they were obviously heavily attached to Dubois, and that hasn't been set in stone here. But if they were to acquire Dubois as a centerman, that one kind of makes a little bit more sense because then you roll with Dubois and Suzuki. But now are you gonna roll Suzuki, Doc, and Newhook?
It's
I
like
don't
an
know if that.
underwhelming.
Yeah, they're trying to build like three. I don't know. It's
It's like
interesting.
it's like they're hoping that in the future they'll have three second line centers in their top three
Hmm.
center spots, and like one of them's going to be a super high end center, and arguably already is, and Nick Suzuki. One of them's
Oh
going to
yeah.
be, and then two of them are just going to be like second line centers in Doc and Newhook, and they'll have
Hmm.
tremendous center depth in their top nine, and that's how like they win. But my God, you better pray that Cole Caulfield ends up being the 40 or 50 goal guy that you just paid him to be. I don't think we've talked since that contract was signed. He signed an 8-year deal in Montreal. I think it was 7.75 or something. Or maybe it was 7.5. But and then you better hope that Uri Slavkovsky goes off because like just looking at this organization and this like who they have in the NHL right now, it just doesn't seem like they have that high end talent that you really need to win Stanley Cups and compete in the playoffs in this league.
Yeah. as uh as you're explaining that, and as I just said that the Dubois news was not final, it looks like it's
Is
final
it?
now. Do you
Okay,
want me
that's cool
to?
because I also wanted to bring up that because I like it's pretty much a done deal that Dubois is going to go to LA, but we don't know what's going back. Are you saying we know what's going back?
Yeah, Frank Saravalli just tweeted out what looks to be the package now. Well, these pieces have for the most part been floating out there, but him tweeting it out now kind of solidifies it. So I'll read it. The Jets and the Kings have agreed to terms on a deal that sends number one trade target Pierre-Luc Dubois to Los Angeles in exchange for a package that includes Velarde, Iafallo, Kupari, and a second round pick. Dubois is extended at 8 years, 68 million, which I believe is 8.5 AAV.
Friedman just tweeted the same thing. 8 times 8.5 is the contract. Velarde, Iafallo, Kupari in a second
Yeah.
to Winnipeg. Okay, so now that we have that, that's very exciting. That just dropped mid pod.
Yeah.
I was going to where I was going to go with the new hook conversation was that this felt like a very reactionary move by Montreal, given that they're not going to get Dubois, or it looked very unlikely, and now it looks even more like such that
Hmm.
Montreal maybe just pivoted quickly to acquiring a centerman
Yeah.
when they
And
missed out on Dubois.
sorry, and the second round pick is in 2024, and it's Montreal's. So
Hmm, could be a
that could
high
be
one.
interesting. Yeah.
That could be in the 30s for sure.
Hmm.
Um, because Montreal's like I don't think they're going to be good this year. Like maybe marginal improvements depending on what we see from their young players, but like they don't have a lot of guys coming in, especially with Dubois now not coming in. Damn. Okay, let's talk about this trade then. So we knew Dubois was going to be in LA. We could pretty much sense that this morning, and it was rumored all day that the contract was going to be 8 times 8.5. What are our thoughts? Okay, let me go look at these contracts that Winnipeg just got. Here.
Okay, there's too much happening right now. Like, let's try to get through this, but Twitter is shaking me.
Okay, so I'm going to LA's cap friendly because I'd like to see the contract statuses of the 3 players. I think Velarde is a UF or an RFA, right? That was a guy that LA had to sign.
I think so, but he is a really good player, so I like
Velarde and Kupari are both restricted free agents. They're both 23 years old. Iafallo is 29, making $4 million. He has 2 years left on his contract, so that's a guy that was necessary for cap matching. And yeah, so Iafallo, Velarde, and who was it? Oh, Kupari. Let's see what those guys did this past year. Gabe Velarde had a wicked season. That's a good pickup for the Jets.
It's on first glance, it's a very good return. Like, I would be pleased with that if I'm a Jets fan.
So Velarde had 23 goals, 18 assists for 41 points in 63 games this past year in his real like first big shot at like true NHL sort of top 6 minutes. Prior to this year, he had only played 89 games in his career and had only accumulated 19 points. So he would, but like that's playing bottom 6 minutes. Like that's going up and down between AHL and NHL. Like this is a 20 goal, potentially even 30 goal guy in the future. Former first round pick, 11th overall in 2017. And I'm just going to take a look at Kupari's situation from this past year to see how Winnipeg is doing here. So Kupari was drafted 20th overall 2018. This year he spent between AHL and the NHL, between Ontario and LA. He had 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points in 66 games. So not a whole lot there. That is as a forward. In the AHL, he had 9 points, 5 goals, 4 assists in 11 games for Ontario. So you're not really getting a high-end guy there, but he's age is on his side, and Velarde's awesome, and Iafallo's a guy, and the second-round pick. So
yeah, no,
and that's for a guy who wasn't going to be on your team next year, no matter what. So I love it I like it for Winnipeg.
No, Winnipeg did great. It looks like they're going to get a very solid second liner at the very least out of Velarde. Honestly, like Iafallo's production is pretty decent too. 36 and 59 isn't terrible. And then like Kupari, he's the same age as Velarde, so I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that Los Angeles just has so many guys now. I guess they can afford to throw 3 to upgrade 1 kind of deal. Yeah.
Someone just tweeted that they're hearing whispers that Pierre-Luc Dubois is asking for a trade out of LA. That's so good.
Classic.
Okay, what are your thoughts on this from LA's side? They sort of... I have a lot of thoughts.
I think
here.
It's weird.
I don't know how I feel about it for LA, man.
I think it's weird.
I like the name, but like, do I like the player? I don't know if I like the player.
1, I don't know if I love the player. 2, are we going to talk about Quinton Byfield?
That's where I was going to go with this, man. They're putting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock in front of this guy.
Yeah.
Like, so they draft Byfield in 2020. They do whatever in 2020, 2021. Like, I don't remember. They signed Danault after that season, which I think was the bubble year that Montreal went to the final, and Danault hit free agency, and they signed him. So all of a sudden they have Kopitar and Danault. Byfield still doesn't make the team because, I mean, he just wasn't good enough. Then the team goes and trades for Fiala, and they're all of a sudden they're moving into this sort of contention window. Drew Doughty has this resurgent season as an $11 million defenseman. They bring in all these different players. Guys are starting to come up from the minors. Alex Turcotte continues to not show signs of NHL life, and still hasn't. And who is also a center that they drafted 5th overall in 2019.
Yeah.
And now, fast forward 2 years from the Danault signing, Byfield's still yet to assert himself as an NHLer, and they bring in a 25-year-old sort of number one center / really high end number two center. Maybe not a number one center, but like between him and Kopitar and Danault, like that's what Montreal seems like they're trying to build with just the wrong guys. But like LA is kind of the model down the middle, and now all of a sudden they've got this uber talented 6'6" former second overall pick that maxes out as a fourth line center this year. Like what happens now?
I wonder if they, like, I haven't seen anything around this, but I wonder if they, wouldn't it be crazy if like Byfield for Hellebuyck?
Like a second LA and Winnipeg trade? Hellebuyck.
Well, like I don't see how this guy like makes a huge impact on this team in the next 2 to 3 years.
Have you listened to the recent 32 Thoughts?
Yes.
Because they sort of tease the idea of them just moving Byfield over, but that just feels like such a waste.
Yeah, I don't love that. Like
that's a waste of talent.
Yeah. He's a natural centerman. You can't, I don't know.
It's just so weird, man. Like the Rangers and the Kings in the last 3 years have put on a clinic for how not to develop your supposed cornerstone player.
Mm-hmm.
Like Alexis Lafreniere and Quinton Byfield. And the year before that, both teams, respectively, in the top 5 drafted Capo Caco and Alex Turcotte, who are both pretty much busts at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how you feel about Capo Caco. And if you're willing to write off Rangers guys yet, because they've been even more roadblocked than Quinton Byfield has been in LA. And I don't know, man, it just seems like such a waste for his development. If you put at 20, I think Byfield will be 20 years old for this upcoming season, maybe 21. If you put a 21-year-old Quinton Byfield, I don't know, second line left wing or something, like that just, I don't know, feels like a suboptimal use of one of your premier assets in your organization.
Do you know how many years Danault has left?
Oh, I think he signed a 6-year deal. I want to say he's got 3 years left. I'll check.
Yeah, I really don't know what their plan is with Byfield. I can see them trading him.
I just don't see them trading him though, man.
Well, like
he's got 4 years left, so he's 2 years into a 6-year deal. Danault.
And then Kopitar's what? 2?
Kopitar's up after this season, but like he's not going anywhere. He's just gonna be cheaper.
Yeah.
He's got the 1 year left at 10. I bet you he comes back for a multi-year deal at like 5.
Yeah, I don't know what they do then, because they still need a goalie, right?
They do. What does their cap friendly look like now?
I think I saw that they have 5, a little over. No.
They essentially just added $4.5 million in cap because they brought in Dubois and got rid of Iafallo. So they had $9 million in space. Now they're at 4.5.
Yeah, Cap Friendly just tweeted out that they're at 4.53. Yeah.
Okay.
Out of a roster of 16. Yikes.
Yeah.
They got work.
They're tight, man. And they don't have a goalie.
Yeah.
They've got Phoenix Copley. Why did they retain on Provorov? What was that?
Why did they do this trade?
This Dubois trade?
All those guys are guys they kind of need on their roster.
I know. This was weird.
Like who? Well, I guess who are they upgrading? Because they do have a lot of prospects, but I don't know.
Yeah, but haven't we been saying that about LA for a while now?
I know.
Like at what point? So I saw a funny. I think it was a Jay Fresh thing. He called LA a fake rebuild because it was basically like this LA rebuild has been the fakest rebuild I've ever seen, because it's like if you go back 4 years ago when LA was drafting Turcotte and Byfield, whatever, and you say, 3 years from now, you guys will have made the playoffs 3 years in a row. You had 100 and whatever points last year. You lost in the first round to Edmonton back-to-back years, but like you're right there, and you just and the hypothetical conversation had, is it because Byfield and Turcotte are our top 2 centers? And it's like, no, it's because of Fiala and Dubois and et cetera and Danault and whoever. And it's just like, it's just weird, man. Like they've
Mm-hmm.
done great moves to bring in NHLers, and Arvidsson and then is another
Yeah,
one.
that's a great one.
Like they're not like their prospects just haven't worked out. It's the same exact thing with the Rangers. Like the Kings and the Rangers similarities are absolutely uncanny. It's wild how similar those two teams are right now.
Yeah, it'll be. I don't know where they cap out with are they? I don't know how this team wins a Stanley Cup, I guess is what I'm getting at.
And they
I
have
don't
no
know how.
defenseman. Oh, Brent
Yeah.
Clark's coming.
Well, oh yeah. No, I'm okay with their defense. But their forwards, I don't know. Do you win with Pierre-Luc Dubois as a number one center?
They jumped through hoops to keep Gavrikov. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so weird.
And he might be gone in 2 years.
They really did jump through hoops for Dubois for almost no reason. It felt like any team acquiring Dubois was doing it unnecessarily. Like even Montreal doing it would have been silly. Right?
Montreal made a little more sense, but not a whole lot more sense.
Who were some of the other teams that were rumored to be? Like I think Minnesota, but they just couldn't because of their cap penalties. Like that would have been cool if they had any money.
Even Ottawa's name was loosely floated, but Ottawa's
that would have been
good
dumb.
at center.
Also, that would have been dumb.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. This is weird. I don't know how to feel about this trade.
It is odd. The
more I like it for Winnipeg,
the more odd it is.
I want Winnipeg to trade everyone now. I want Winnipeg to trade everyone. Well,
there was rumors that to make this work, I haven't seen this happen yet, so maybe it didn't actually happen. But apparently there was a point where it looked like they had to buy out Wheeler to make this happen.
Right.
Because they would have had to afford PLD
the Dubois extension.
The Dubois extension while he was on their roster.
Right.
So I haven't seen that happen, but there was rumors that might happen.
Okay. I think there's no chance LA is traded to LA or Hellebuck's traded to LA this offseason though.
Yeah, probably not anymore. But I was just trying to think of what they're going to do with Quinton Byfield. I don't know.
Like if somehow they could make it work that they send Byfield to Winnipeg in exchange for Hellebuck on an 8x9. Do we like the Dubois trade more after that?
I don't know.
It's not a realistic thing. If anything, LA is just going to have to wait until Kopitar's number comes down and then sign Hellebuck, which is what I kind of think is going to happen. But what do you do with Quinton Byfield, man? This was the number one asset in the NHL 2 years ago, besides NHL players. Number one NHL affiliated asset 2 years ago.
And trying to keep my son's bias out of it, Tim Stützle has a 90-point season, and
right.
And Lafreniere and Byfield are just kind of hanging out. That top of the draft has turned out so weird compared to what we all thought it was going to be.
Zadina sucks. Who went fourth? Raymond had a terrible year.
Oh, Zadina was not that draft.
Oh fuck! Yeah, I was thinking of Raymond. I was thinking of Raymond. Yeah, I don't know, man. Very strange. Drysdale's been underwhelming in Anaheim. Rossi just hasn't done anything. Not his own fault, but still. I don't know. Weird from LA. We'll see what happens, I guess.
I just saw a tweet. It was if LA drafted Stützle ahead of Byfield, they didn't have to do this.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah, that's true. I really want to see the Jets trade Scheifele and trade Hellebuck and trade anyone. Name Morrissey the captain and just move on. And would you listen on offers for Ehlers and Connor too?
If they were willing to stick around, probably not.
Do you think they will be though? 3 years out, are you willing to wait it out with those guys just to see their value depreciate? Because they're not winning a cup in those 3 years. And they're not really competing for playoff spots in those 3 years. They were a first round. Yeah. They were a first round shit kicking for the Vegas Golden Knights this year with all of these guys.
I don't see why you wouldn't listen.
You get so much for those guys.
If you get I don't know, an offer of 3 first round assets for Kyle Connor, do you do it?
I have no idea. I have
That's
no
interesting.
idea.
I'd never really thought about that, but it makes sense with the timeline if they're moving on from like 4 or 5 other guys.
Yeah. Ryan, did you say DraftKings?
I didn't, but I was thinking about it.
Speaking of DraftKings, new customers download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code. Oh, what was the code?
THPN.
THPN. It says XXX on the read, so I forgot it.
This guy
THPN.
can't even think of the abbreviation.
Bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPM only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline.rna.org. ma.org. Oh my God, my eyes. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in West Virginia, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call in Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Max bet of $50. 10 plus leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. My God, it's hard reading those links that they write down in actual words.
Yeah, you hit your stride.
We met it at the end. It was a long time since we did the last pod.
And now the Dubois trade is official. The teams have tweeted it out.
Damn. Velarde, Kupar, anything change or same thing?
No, all the same.
Nice. Was this an actual sign and trade too? This was like the Kachuk thing.
It's looking like it, yeah.
Matthew Kachuk is a trailblazer. What does this mean for DeBrincat?
That is a great question.
That is a great question. Would you be satisfied with this return if it was DeBrincat?
Oh, 1,000%. If it was this, I don't think Ottawa's gonna even touch this return, but
yeah, I don't either.
I would argue that these two probably should be valued similarly, but just because one is a massive centerman and one is a tiny winger, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah. Dubois is so overrated, though, man.
Yeah.
I love the name. I want to love the player, but he's so overrated. His career high is 63 points. Mm-hmm. And he's not a big battering forward like people think he is because he's 6'4".
No, he's not. So I don't know what this means for DeBrincat. I would think that now that Dubois is gone, Ottawa probably gets their final offers from teams being like, hey, if we were in on that guy, or this is the biggest name left on the market now. If we're going to get him, it's probably going to be in the next day before the draft. So I would assume probably Ottawa, if they haven't gotten their best offers yet, will probably get him tonight or tomorrow morning. But I don't see them getting any more or anywhere close to that, to be honest.
I think this kind of removes the possibility of them getting into the first round, unless they take a significantly less in terms of roster players.
Well, Dorian spoke today too, and he said it's unlikely that they get into the first round. So I found that pretty interesting, actually, because I had always assumed that they were probably going to get a first round pick back in the package. Yeah. And maybe it will be for a future year, but he said they will not be moving into the first round this year. So that was interesting as well.
Very interesting. I wonder if that's going to be like a draft floor trade. I doubt it. I doubt it, actually, because there probably won't be a first round pick involved.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
All right. I think that covers all the trades. I guess we had the awards last night. Was there one more?
One more trade. The first one that I was thinking about yesterday was the Hall trade. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Taylor Hall and the rights to UFA Nick Foligno to the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for absolutely nothing. Taylor Hall has 2 years left at $6 million. Chicago was not on his no trade clause or his no trade list, which is hilarious. He will join Connor Bedard on the first line in the Blackhawks 2024 lineup. And they actually shortly after that signed Nick Foligno to a 1-year deal worth $4 million. So Nick Foligno cashing in on that sweet, sweet Blackhawks cap space that they are looking to burn, baby, burn.
Yeah, that is your Ron Hainsey. I think he signed $3 million deal in Ottawa that 1 year for like this is your team near the bottom of the league, needs to get to the floor. Here's your random veteran that's making $3 to $4 million.
Yup.
That's what that is. That's exactly what that is.
I thought it was a funny trade. Pretty brutal though for Taylor Hall. Like the guy's just been dying to play for a winner for so long. Like he was in Edmonton in those godforsaken years. Basically was traded the year after McDavid even gets there. And McDavid was hurt for his rookie year, so like he just missed out on that. And then he won the Hart Trophy in New Jersey, and then New Jersey started to suck and like drafted Hughes and stuff. Yeah. And then he got traded to Arizona and then signed the 1-year deal in Buffalo, and Buffalo was catastrophic. And then finally ended up in Boston, and now is back to the most epic tank job in NHL history of last season on a team that will be better, you'd think, with Bedard coming in. It'll be an exciting team. I'll watch. I want to see what that looks like. But you got to feel for the guy. He's played with every first overall pick in NHL history. Not NHL history, pretty much just every first overall pick for like the last 15 years.
Since he's came into the league, it feels like he's played on every single team that's gotten the first round pick. It's hilarious.
Yeah. It's funny. And like pretty crazy. Like Boston just getting rid of 2 actual guys, like warm NHL bodies, good NHL players, just because they're in such a cap crunch. You gotta think Boston takes a step back this year, but we said that last year, so we're just gonna go hush on that. I really like it for Chicago though. Like I'm happy they're doing this. I'm happy they're insulating Connor Bedard. I'm happy Connor Bedard is gonna have someone to pass to and someone to pass to him. Taylor Hall isn't what he used to be. He's not the same guy as his name suggests, but I mean, hey, he's a good player. He's going to be a good mentor, I think, for Bedard. And
you know who else I would love to see them throw some cash at just randomly? I think he's a UFA, is Lucic.
He is a UFA.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Give Connor Bedard his bodyguard, please.
I think that'd be good. And then like Anaheim, I think, is the other team that is likely in on Lucic. That's what Merrick said.
Right, yeah.
Just because they get beat up a lot. They've got a lot of young guys, and if they draft Fantilli, they'll have even more young guys. So, Lucic is definitely going to have some suitors playing for the minimum this year, for sure, or like $1 million or whatever. Some Patrick Maroon contracts coming for Milan Lucic. So I really like it for Chicago, though. I hope they do more of this. But I don't know. I feel bad for Taylor Hall, man. This is going to be like his 6th team. He's kind of on the downswing of his career already. Although I guess he was drafted in 2010, so what would he be, like 31 or 32 now? So not necessarily a new thing for guys at that age to start coming down in their career, but I just don't think of Taylor Hall as a 31-year-old, which is a little bit nuts, but whatever. I mean, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on it? Like, it's kind of a pretty standard trade in the NHL now, trading away guys that make money for nothing.
I'm gonna love when we can kind of get back to a normal point in the NHL where these aren't as necessary, because we forget that like even 3 years ago, I want to say, before the pandemic, we never really saw trades like this, did we?
No, because the cap was always going up.
Yeah, so it'll jump 4 million or so next year, and then hopefully another 4 or so after that, and then we'll be good. But no, it does. It sucks for Taylor Hall, probably. I don't know how he feels. He's never won anything. Like, he hasn't won a cup, right? So he sucks for him in that sense, but now he gets to play with Connor Bedard. So how many years is left on his deal?
2.
I don't even know. Okay.
2.
Yeah. Maybe he puts up crazy numbers with Connor Bedard. Who knows? But
He was playing on the third line in Boston, so like that's
yeah,
just how good that team was. Is that they had Taylor Hall making $6 million on the third line. You got to
right.
think that Boston makes a run at Tyler Bertuzzi now,
Hmm.
but at the same time, like Tyler Bertuzzi, like is he going to be that much cheaper than Taylor Hall was? So I don't know if Boston's be able to fit that.
No, but it
And
looks
like
like that. It looks like that was their kind of motive behind doing this trade.
okay, and they
Just
also have some
resigning.
depth defensemen they could get rid of. I think Mike Riley makes 3. So they've got other guys they can get rid of. So maybe they were just getting rid of Hall as a precursor for a Bertuzzi contract. But I don't know. If I'm Bertuzzi, I'm waiting to see what offers come across because he's all of a sudden like the top UFA on the market right now because
Hmm.
the free agency market is so dry this year. So there's going to be a lot of crazy trades, I think, hopefully.
Hmm.
All right. We're now 40 minutes in. We haven't touched the draft or the awards. So I'm saying, I don't know, McDavid won everything. Kopitar got the Bing. Beniers won the Calder. Bergeron won the Selke. Erik Karlsson got his third Norris Trophy, which was awesome. I think there was some doubt starting to creep into people's minds just as the sort of whole he doesn't play defense narrative started to gain some traction. Allmark got his Vezina. That was one I was interested to see.
According
But
to one Pittsburgh Penguins reporter, McDavid was 5th in
yeah,
the.
dude. Like, come on. Why are there 196 people voting on these awards?
That's a great question. And why are we doing regional specific people too? It doesn't make any
Yes.
sense.
It should be
Doesn't
all
make any
national. It
sense.
should be all national. There's so much bias with these freaking reporters, dude. Like the fact that someone thought that McDavid was 5th in Hart this year. Oh, you know
Like
what?
everybody just throws in their guy, and like it's not necessarily. Well, it is a problem in some cases because the McDavid thing is stupid. But like Bruce Garriock threw in Giroux for the Selke, I think, which isn't like absurd if you throw him 4th or 5th. But
JT
everybody's
Miller
gonna
got a Selke vote.
exactly. So like everybody is gonna have their guys that they watch on a daily, like on a nightly basis. So obviously you're gonna have some sort of bias there.
Someone did a deep dive into the everyone's ballots because they released the ballots for all 200 voters.
Mm-hmm.
Someone did a deep dive on some of the most ridiculous ones, but I lost the tweet. I had it open at the start of the pod, and I was going to keep it open, but I did not.
Yes.
So, anyway, the guy that voted McDavid 5th had like I forget who he had first, but I think he had he had something. It was so
He
stupid. I
had
think he
passed
had
it first.
passed the first. Okay, but he had like a ridiculous top 5, and then his top 3 on the Norris were stupid. Like I think he had Erik Karlsson 4th or something. Um, it was just dumb. Like it was so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Miro Heiskanen finished 7th in Norris voting. Like I don't know these.
Yeah.
Some of these reporters need to get a grip. I don't know.
Jake Sanderson too. I
Jake
think he was
Sanderson
like
barely made the all
yeah.
rookie team.
Pinto
Oh,
didn't get a single vote for rookie of the
yeah.
year, and he scored
Yeah.
20 goals.
Not that I think he deserved it, but you think
Yeah,
he'd get
no,
one.
but you could maybe get like a couple fifths here in there.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah. Whatever. It's the awards. Everyone that probably should have won, so who cares about the voting?
Exactly.
But I don't know. McDavid would have been the second, only the first guy to ever win 2 unanimous MVPs, which would have been cool. He probably will do it anyway, but
Yeah.
that guy's gonna win like 6. So
Yeah.
okay, let's touch on the draft. Draft is tomorrow, hot and heavy. Lots of stuff gonna happen. A lot of movement looking at the top of the draft. Apparently, Mitchkov could go as high as 2 or as low as 8. I'm so excited to see who drafts him. I'm gonna be in New York City for it, so I'm hoping that my brother and stepdad are down to try to find a bar to watch it at. Hopefully New York City has the draft on and not like a baseball game or something. I'm not sure how I know they're hockey crazy down there, but I'm not sure if they're like draft during baseball season crazy about hockey. Not sure. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited to see Connor Bedard's name get called. I always get excited to see the announcement of the first overall pick, even when it's a foregone conclusion. Last year it was super exciting because we really didn't know who's going to go first. And then when Uri Slavkovsky went first, it was absolutely electric because Kent Hughes' voice is sick. But yeah, no, it'll be cool to see Bedard go first. I'm excited to see who Anaheim takes. basically, I think Columbus is going to take whoever Anaheim doesn't between Fantilli and Carlson, and then it's a complete shit show from there. So what are your thoughts going into the draft? Not that we are draft experts or anything, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Mitchkov is definitely like the headline I'm looking or I'll be tuning in for the first like 10 picks at least. I'm super curious to see where he goes. It sounds like Montreal might even be looking at moving down, which is
I think
interesting.
that's smart
So
for them.
I think so too, especially after this trade. Like if they just picked up another guy who they see in that kind of top 9 at the very least, why go pick up another forward or high-end centerman at least? But like I think Mitchkov, Montreal, and I wouldn't be shocked if Nashville does something crazy.
I want to see them move up.
Because 1, they're hosting. 2, they have the most picks this year. And 3, Trotz has been outwardly saying, I want to be aggressive and take risks. So I think they're going to do something crazy.
I want Nashville to move up to 5.
That would be crazy. And I really
what do they have? Like the 16th pick or the 17th pick or something? Like they've got a mid-round pick?
Yes.
And then they have all of Tampa's picks until 2029. And then they have like picks from... They have like a second from Winnipeg for Niederreiter and a whole bunch. Like they've got so many. And then they've got a pick from Pittsburgh. I think they've got a second from Pittsburgh for Granlund. Like they're rolling in picks right now.
So they have 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, 3 third-rounders, 3 fourth-rounders, 2 fifth-rounders, and a 6th-rounder.
That's this year?
Yeah.
Can you
they
repeat
have the
that?
most picks in They have the most picks in this draft.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, 2 first-rounders, theirs and Edmonton's, 2 second-rounders, theirs in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Theirs in Pittsburgh's. 3 third-rounders, theirs, San Jose's, and Tampa Bay's. Their 3 fourth-rounders, theirs, Tampa Bay's, and Toronto's. 2 fifth-rounders, theirs, and Tampa Bay. And a 6th-rounder.
Oh my god, man. Okay, I have a weird prediction.
Sure.
I don't think it's going to take 3 years for Matvei Michkov to come to North America.
I
think the fact that he's going to be at the draft is crazy. I don't know if that was supposed to happen or expected to happen. But I think the simple fact that he was like allowed by Russia, or at least he made the effort to come to the draft, is massive. And apparently teams are falling for him fast because this is the first time teams have gotten the chance to talk to him and teams are loving him.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't think it's really politically tied that he's going to be stuck in Russia. It's more so that his contract with his team in KHL is 3 years.
Yeah, but guys break those all the time.
I know. But like it's...
And so I wonder if the controversy, the constant controversy, but the recent stuff going on in Russia, like they're freaking on the verge of a civil war or something. Like, I wonder if that pushes him to be like, okay, like, I'm going to get out of Russia and I'm going to sort of like, just try to void my contract, because those happen all the time, right? Like, and if he wants to, he will.
And like his dad just passed away semi-recently in suspicious kind of scenario. So like, I don't know what's going on with his head, but it sounds like he's still expected to be there for 3 years. Like you said, I wouldn't be shocked if he's here sooner. I would love to see Nashville do a crazy swing and move up and take him. That would be epic.
That'd be crazy. That'd be absolutely nuts. Oh my god, I want to see Nashville move up so badly now. I forgot it was in Nashville, and I kind of didn't realize that they had all those picks this year.
Yeah,
holy crap. Okay,
it's weirdly good. But yeah, I don't know. I think I heard on a podcast the other day that they have the most picks in this draft. I was like, what? When did that happen?
Yeah.
But then they got like 4 or 5 from Tampa Bay only in this draft. Yeah. So I guess it makes sense.
Well, all the picks they got from Tampa were spread across 3 years, but they literally got an entire draft class. They got a first, a second, third, fourth, and a fifth, I think. Like, it was nuts.
Yeah, well, 3 of them are this year, I think. Yeah, the third, fourth, and fifth are all this year.
That's awesome. This is what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be Bedard, Fantilli, Carlson, and then I have no idea what San Jose is going to do, because nobody does. But like it's between like there's so many guys. Like it's Will
It's like
Smith,
Will Smith, yeah.
Mitch Koff, Reinbacher, Ryan Leonard, and then a few other guys. Basically, from 4 to 9 is almost interchangeable. But like, there's no way Mitchkoff makes it past 8 where Washington is.
No, it sounds like people expect him now to not even make it past 7. Philly.
Okay.
Like, people think that Philly will take him if he's there.
If I'm Arizona, though, I'm taking him too. Like,
yeah, I think they probably should, but it doesn't sound like they're going to at this point, which is interesting.
Which is weird. Like, you know how sick that'd be for that team if the rink and stuff actually happens and they get a new one or whatever, or if they relocate and that takes a couple years and they move into their new rink, like, and then Mitchkoff comes over within a year. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be like perfect timing.
It'd be cool for the franchise. I'm excited for the draft. It's the most excited for the draft that I've been in a while. I was jacked up for the NBA draft last weekend or last Thursday or whatever, but I had a baseball game and it all got spoiled for me. So I'm hoping I can watch this thing live. I love the drafts. I love off ice stuff.
Yeah, this like week is one of my favorites outside of like, well, I guess it's back to normal now. I can't remember how it was last year, but like just
it was back to normal last year too.
The week of like it goes awards, draft, free agency, and in all of that is like the buyout window and other stuff, waivers left, right, and center. It's fascinating. Like even now, just talking for the last 10 minutes, we've got 2 more little pieces of news. I don't know if you want to.
Schedules are coming out in hilarious fashion.
Yeah. Okay.
What are the 2 pieces of news? We're almost out an hour, so let's.
I will do the less interesting one first. Evgeny Dadonov signs a 2-year extension in Dallas.
How much money?
2.25 AAV.
Okay.
And New Jersey has traded Mackenzie Blackwood to the San Jose Sharks for a 6th round pick in this draft.
Yeah. Yeah. Go Sharks.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. Maybe he can be their next Aiden Hill, and then they'll get rid of him, and then he'll go win a cup for another team. Yeah, I don't know. San Jose seems to just keep on being the team that stockpiles on bad goalies. Like,
yeah, they always take on those kind of goalies.
They always take
on
those
types
of goalies. It's weird. Like, I think, who did they have before Aiden Hill?
Well, like James Reimer was there.
They had Reimer for a bit. Yeah, they had Reimer still. But they had one other guy that was like notorious backup goalie. I can't remember who.
The guy who hurt Batherson.
Oh, Aaron Dell.
Yeah.
So they had like Aaron Dell, Aiden Hill. Like they had they always have like 2 or 3 backup goalies. Like James Reimer's a backup goalie. Like they always have a bunch of backups, and now they go.
And then the guy that's just I can't remember his name. They are all just guys that is in or was in Philly. Who's that guy? Basically handed Stutzla to the Sens.
I don't know.
With his play. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but he's a terrible goaltender.
Let's look it up. Let's find it. Give me 30 seconds. Let's see if I can find it. 2020.
Right. I think he was either traded or just signed with Philly.
Goalies. Martin Jones.
Yep, that guy.
Devin Dubnyk. Like they just have guys all the time.
Martin Jones. Ugh.
Martin Jones. All right. I'm happy with how long this episode has gone. I'm happy with what we've touched on. We barely even talked about DeBrincat, which is crazy. So hopefully next time we do a pod, we're going to have something there. I'm going to be mad if he resigns. Okay. I do not want that man at an 8x9. Okay.
No.
All right.
I do not.
Let's wrap this thing up. Hit the outro. Yeah. Doing one more quick scan. Looks like nothing's happening, so I think we're safe.
I'm trying to hit the outro.
He's trying to hit the outro. He's doing his best, everyone. I messed up on the ad read. Ryan's messing up on the outro. It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's looking like we might get no outro today.
So no outro for today's episode.
Do you want to sing it, Mitch?
Ryan, would you like to sing the outro?
I'm good. All right.
Thank you for listening.
All right.
Goodbye.
See ya.